Hi friends, welcome back. I can't believe I'm filming this. I am pregnant again. You're gonna be big brother! Yay! So I wrote down all of the symptoms that I had basically since I ovulated because I felt different and I don't know if it's actually possible to like feel when you get pregnant, but I feel like I did. I felt different right from the day that I ovulated all the way until I got my big fat positive. And I wrote down all of the symptoms that I had and what days I had them. So I'm going to sort of go through that fairly quickly. I have, of course, as always, notes, so I will be looking down. Okay, so basically started on cycle day 14, which would have been the day that I ovulated, although based on my calculations on how my body felt and everything, I actually ovulated on cycle day 13. And this time I actually, thankfully, it was not a big infertility struggle. It was not a big issue. I don't want to call it an issue, but just, yeah, a struggle to get pregnant like it was with him. When we tried with him, it took us 18 months to actually get pregnant, and I found out I had thyroid issues and progesterone issues and other gene mutations that made it very difficult for me to conceive. And so it was hard, and it was a long process, which I think maybe at some other point I might do a whole video on that if you guys are interested in knowing about our fertility issues and how we finally did get pregnant with him. So this time, thankfully, everything happened very quickly. This was our very first month trying, and I'm just so thankful, honestly, that things happened naturally and quickly, and that I didn't have to go through another 18 months of pain and torture. I mean, I don't want to call it really torture, but if you or someone you know have struggled with infertility, you know how awful it is and how alone you feel and how incredibly lonely it is. Even though you are going through it with your partner, you don't feel like there's support, even though there is, you know. I don't know, it's a really weird feeling. But like I said, thankfully this pregnancy is not like that. So anyways, starting on cycle day 14, which I guess technically would have been my ovulation day, but I feel like I ovulated the day before, I was very, very bloated. I was very gassy, not farty gassy. Sorry if this is too much. Too TMI. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. I was gassy as in just like my stomach up here was like full of gas. I felt like very big and bloated, and that was like, I guess, probably like the first sign that I had, and that probably is just a sign of ovulation itself, not necessarily that I got pregnant. But cycle day 15, I started cramping, and I don't ever cramp in between cycles. I usually always, my whole life since I first got my period when I was 11, I would cramp the day that I got my period, all day. It was horrible, and then maybe a little bit the next day, and that's it. And then this time I cramped on cycle day 15, and I thought, well, maybe it was just sorry about that. Kaz is hi, going crazy down here. But I thought maybe, I don't know, like I'm breastfeeding and my body's still just like trying to like regulate from me, you know, being pregnant with gas, and maybe it's just a fluke. Now, cycle day 16, I had cramps as well, and they were like period cramps, but like not as strong, and they definitely didn't last all day. It was like randomly I would be like, oh man, I'm cramping, and then I would forget about it or it would go away. And then a few hours later I would feel it again, and that sort of happened all day. Cycle day 17, same thing happened, except that I was a lot more bloated, super gassy, again, just like full of gas, like on my upper part of my stomach, and I actually felt nauseous, which of course I never do except when I'm pregnant. So that is probably the first day that I started being like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm pregnant. But of course this is cycle day 17, so I, you know, technically if I ovulated right in the middle of my cycle, I would only be like 2 days past ovulation, so like who knows if that would see in. This is what I was thinking in my head, right? Who knows if it's even possible that I would feel pregnant already. But I started having my suspicions, or basically knew that I was pregnant then. Cycle day 18, same thing, super bloated, super gassy. And then this is when the consistency of my CM, again, TMI, but the consistency of my CM started changing, and it was back to like egg white consistency, like it is when you are fertile, but it was white instead of clear. Sorry if that's gross. But then I also had like really, really low energy that day, just like not super tired, but just like not feeling like wanting to do anything. I just wanted to lay around. I also was nauseous that day and crampy. On cycle day 19, I was crampy, bloated, gassy again. Cycle day 20, 21, 22, 23, basically same thing, a little bit of nausea here and there, and cramps. And basically since I had cramps every single day since ovulation, that was my clue as to believing that I was pregnant. I honestly have never had that before. I didn't have it with Kaz, but I thought that it was really strange. Around cycle day 24, I started having back pain. Cycle day 25, I started having pain in my teeth, which that was one of my mom's first pregnancy signs when she was pregnant with both me and my brother. Every single one of these days I was having that same egg white CM consistency, because I had been feeling so weird all of these days. On cycle day 26, I was like, I'm only 2 days before. I'm just gonna test because I can't wait. I know that I'm pregnant and I want to see that positive. And I took a test and it was negative. And I just was more in shock than anything else. It's not like I was, I mean, obviously I was disappointed, but I was just in shock. I like could have sworn that I was pregnant, and I had been feeling so weird and nauseous and crampy, and like, why was it negative if I knew that I was pregnant, you know? And so it just was very shocking to me. Of course, I got really sad towards the end of the day. I'm like, well, you know, it probably would have shown up, even just like the slightest line would have shown up, and it didn't. So I'm not pregnant, I'm out, but like now I'm kind of worried because there's something weird going on with me. The next day, which would have been cycle day 27, which was cycle day 27, I woke up and I was really nauseous and really crampy again, and I was like, this was also the 31st, so it was New Year's Eve, and we were invited to a dinner at our neighbor's house, and I wanted to have, of course, like a glass of champagne if I wasn't pregnant. And I had already taken the test the day before, but because I was feeling so nauseous and bloated, I'm like, I'm just gonna take another one and just verify that it's negative so that I can feel okay with drinking a glass of champagne tonight. And so I took another test without any expectations. I didn't film it this time because I just knew that it was gonna be negative. And my husband was taking a nap with my baby. I was working, so I took a break from work. I took a pregnancy test, and then I looked at it and I saw a very faint line, but it was definitely there. And of course, I'm so excited talking about it. I knew that I was pregnant, so I just looked at it and I was like, I knew it. Like, this is why I felt like that. I just knew it. So as I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm like, how am I going to tell my husband? Like, I should go buy like a Big Brother shirt for my baby, and then, you know, something like that. Or like, you know, just trying to come up with ideas of like how to tell my husband that this was it, we did it, I'm pregnant. And as I'm sitting there looking at it with like the biggest smile on my face, my husband walked in front of my office and just saw my huge smile, and he was like, what's going on? And of course I was like, I can't wait, look at this test. And he's like, I knew it, I told you you were pregnant. And we hugged and we talked about how like amazing it was and how we both just knew. As we were talking, he reminded me of other things that had happened in the past week, which I didn't write down what cycle day it was that I had these symptoms, but he reminded me of the things that had happened, and I thought I'd write them down as well, because it was basically telltale signs that I was pregnant, like very clear symptoms that something was different with me, and some of the symptoms that my husband noticed as to why he thought that I was pregnant for sure. So one of the things is we went out to this restaurant, we sat in this back booth, and as we're walking up to the back booth, it was my mom, Kaz, Jason, and I. Jason's my husband. And as we're walking up to the booth, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think we can sit here. All I can smell is like the dirty mop water from like when they mop the public bathrooms, and it's just like that musky, like, ugh. And I'm like, I don't even think we could sit here, like it smells so bad. And both my husband and my mom were like, well, we don't smell anything. I'm like, oh, okay, like we can just sit here. And the whole time we were sitting at the restaurant, like that's all I could smell was like that nasty like mop water. So that was definitely a sign that I was pregnant. It, my heightened sense of smell was very, very heightened with Kaz, and same thing with this one. So another thing that came along with the smelling was one night that I went to bed. I have a little essential oil diffuser in my room, and I laid down. It hadn't been turned on in at least a week because I just kind of forgot. And I have like the essential oils in a box like on the other side of the room, and I laid down in bed and I'm like, oh baby, like, do you have like the essential oil thing going on right now, or like, did you like spray essential oils? It's so strong, it's like hurting my throat, like the smell is so strong. He's like, no, I've never even touched that thing. I'm like, all I can smell is just like a mix of like really strong essential oils, and it was like overwhelming. So that was another thing. One of the other things that I did notice as a sign of pregnancy, another reason I thought that I was pregnant, is because my skin completely cleared out. Usually the week before I get my period, I have breakouts around my chin area, and of course right before this positive pregnancy test, my skin completely cleared out, which was of course awesome. Another symptom that I had was hunger, and not necessarily that I was like really hungry, like if excessively, but I got hungry very quickly after eating. So I would have a huge meal, and 30 minutes later I'm like, oh, I'm starving again. But the very last thing that I wanted to mention was I wanted to talk about a doctor's appointment that I had. It wasn't officially my first prenatal appointment, but I had originally made this appointment to get my thyroid and my progesterone levels checked because we were starting to try again to get pregnant. And so I had the appointment already set up, and it just happened to land 2 days after I found out that I was pregnant. So they drew blood, they tested my thyroid, they tested my progesterone, all my levels came out normal. So I guess I'm still taking thyroid medication, so that's probably why my thyroid numbers are fine. And then my progesterone, I guess, just fixed itself after having Kaz, so that is so awesome. So that that's probably why we were able to conceive quickly this time, is because I wasn't having progesterone issues, and because my thyroid levels were under control. So I have my very first official prenatal appointment on February 1st. I don't know that I'm going to be posting this video before then because I haven't made an announcement to everyone yet. I now have a feeling that I am having a girl. That is my prediction, my early pregnancy prediction. Of course I don't know, and I will be so happy with either. I also would like to share with you guys my line progression For my pregnancy test, I did take pregnancy tests, like I said, on cycle day 26, which was my negative, and then my first positive was on cycle day 27. I, of course, like anyone else who is trying to get pregnant, wanted to like make sure that everything was progressing great, so I took tests on cycle day 27, 28, 29, and then I took another one just to be sure 5 days after my missed period, and I have all of those. If you guys are interested in seeing, I'm going to be showing those to you now, and I will do a little bit of a belly shot, I guess. Before I do that, I want to make sure that I thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of our journey. I am going to be filming weekly updates on this pregnancy. I wish so badly that I had done that every week since the beginning with Kaz, and unfortunately I was too shy to start it so early, but this time I am doing it and I am so excited, and thank you guys for being a part of it. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out and lets me know that you guys are enjoying seeing us and seeing our family and our beautiful journey. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell if you guys want to know when we post. And leave me a comment, especially if you are pregnant. I want to know all about your pregnancy, early pregnancy symptoms, and any questions that you guys might have. I hope to hear from you, and thank you for watching. Okay, so this is my belly now. Really? Hi. And I do feel like it's showing already. I don't know, let me know what you think.